Remember, when we talk about applied behavioral science, we talk about behavior as an outcome, science as a process. Before we can do the process that is science, that's really the IDE of the SIDE method, we have to decide what is the behavioral future that we want. What do we want to be true? Who is going to be doing what when we're successful? In behavioral science, the way that we articulate that is through something called a behavioral statement. It has a very precise format, a precise articulation of who is going to be doing what in the future. The format we use for a behavioral statement is when target audience, who has limitations, wants to motivation, they will behavior as measured by data. And don't worry too much about that right now. We're going to get into each of those variables and how you find it out. But it's important to know there is a very precise articulation here. Why are we so prescriptive? Why are we so specific in the way that we write a behavioral statement? Well, because you have to think of science a little bit like a wish machine. Done correctly, it can help us get what we want. But in order to have it work correctly, we have to know what we want. Think of it like every genie movie you've ever seen. If you say, I want to be the fastest person in the world, the genie will snap their fingers and they'll kill everyone else, and then you will be the fastest person in the world. What you said will be technically true, right? But it isn't the thing that you actually wanted. So we need to be careful about how we talk about where we want to go so that we're able to actually arrive there in a good, safe, clean, clear way. So the IDE part of the side, that science part, is the wish fulfillment. That's how we actually get where we want to go. But this strategy section, that's how we articulate where is it we're going so that we arrive there in the right way. A behavioral statement has 5 variables, 3 of which are in the language of the user. They're in the language of the person whose behavior we're trying to change. And the other 2 are actually in our language. They're for internal use. They help us understand what we are going to be doing in a really precise way. So when we talk about the target audience, motivation, and behavior, those are in the language of the user. They're in the language of the person who's actually going to be doing them and the reason that they think that they're actually doing that behavior. Limitations and data are going to be in our language. That's our opportunity to be very highly specific and technical about how are we measuring that behavior in a really prescriptive way? How are we deciding who we're not going to address in a really prescriptive way? So it's important that we recognize and are able to hold space for the language of the people that we actually serve. When we're trying to change behavior, we need to understand the people whose behavior we're trying to change.